a headline came across my desk that had 3 words that anyone would get me to read. Jeff Tate, David Coverdale, and Spinal Tap. Let's get into this. Jeff Tate says funniest Spinal Tap moment of his career involved David Coverdale and the size of sandwich meat. All right, I'm in. Let's go. In a new interview with Finland's Tuomo Nuoti, former Queensryche singer Jeff Tate was asked the name of the funniest Spinal Tap moment of his career. A reference to the classic 1984 film mockumentary This Is Spinal Tap, and the fact that many bands have talked about having experienced similar situations that the members of Spinal Tap found themselves in. His response was, well, my Spinal Tap moment would be the scene in the movie where I can't remember the characters' names, but the guy's complaining about backstage in his dressing room with the sandwich meat. I saw the reality of that, the real one. Before it came out, I was on tour with Whitesnake, and David Coverdale was having a meltdown in his dressing room regarding the same issue about the catering and the meat didn't fit the sandwich, Jeff explained. And I swear, somebody heard that, and they wrote that into Spinal Tap, the movie, years later, because it was the exact same scene. And for those of you, if you're not familiar with Spinal Tap, if it's been a while, there is a complaint by the character Nigel Tufnell about the deli tray and that square bread, round meat, vice versa. Of course, silly as hell and hilarious. Quote, at the time, I remember I was very young and I remember thinking, why is he upset about that? But the older I get, I really understand that he wanted it done. He wanted his dressing room set up the way he wanted it to be set up. It makes it better and easier for him, and that's why he has it there. And so it wasn't done right. And so he was letting his guy know that he wasn't going to take it anymore. That goes to a story I heard about Van Halen that I will hopefully remember to share at the end of this article. As previously reported, Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues, the sequel to the original film, will receive a theatrical release on the 12th of September of this year. Spinal Tap 2 reunites Rob Reiner with Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, Harry Shearer, as they reprise their iconic roles as the legendary heavy metal band Spinal Tap in this long-awaited sequel. I don't know how long-awaited it is. I can't see there being a sequel. I will tell you the best sequel, in my opinion, of Spinal Tap, of This Is Spinal Tap, is the MGM release of the DVD with the actual actors, the aforementioned actors. They do an audio commentary for the film as the band. It is fantastic. I cannot recommend it enough. Rob Reiner has returned to direct and write, with the original stars and writers Guest, McKean, and Shearer are reprising their roles as Nigel Tufnell, David St. Hubbins, and Derek Smalls, respectively. Reiner will also return as the documentarian Martin Marty DeBurgi. In the sequel, the fictional heavy metal group reunites after a 15-year hiatus for one final concert. Music legends Elton John, Paul McCartney, Trisha Yearwood, and Garth Brooks are all set to make cameos. The Spinal Tap sequel will also see the return of Fran Drescher, who will reprise her role as the band's publicist, Bobby Fleckman, from the original 1984 movie. The film will also feature newcomers John Michael Higgins, Jason Acuna, Don Lake, Nina Conti, Griffin Matthews, Carrie Goldeman, Chris Addison, Brad Williams, hilarious, and musician Paul Schaefer, who himself was in the original film. Its reputation as one of the 20th century's most enduring comedies has increased exponentially in the ensuing years. The film has garnered international praise and acclaim, having been included in best ever lists such as the New York Times Guide to the Best 1,000 Movies Ever Made, Total Film's 100 Greatest Movies of All Time, and Entertainment Weekly's 100 Greatest Movies of All Time, where it appeared on the Just Too Beloved to Be Ignored list, and achieving the coveted number 1 spot on Times Out London's 100 Best Comedies list. 1, to be Britain, 2, to beat out Monty Python and the Holy Grail. That says something. In 2019, the band's creators concluded a new agreement with Universal Music Group. The band's recording a full-length Spinal Tap album featuring songs from the film is still available for physical sale, download, and streaming today from UMG. This Spinal Tap was released to little fanfare, with some viewers convinced the bumbling dinosaurs, who had a knack of losing drummers and freak accidents on screen, were a genuine band. But word of mouth about the smartly observed film, which took a pop at bands such as Status Quo, Black Sabbath, and Led Zeppelin, spread, and it became a sleeper hit. Saxon actually believed the film was related to them as well. According to the Belfast Telegraph, McKean, Guest, and Shearer prepared several scenes with Reiner, but then ad-libbed. At the end of the filming, they had more than 40 hours of footage, which was edited down to a more manageable form. When this Spinal Tap was released, not everybody got that it was a mockumentary. U2's The Edge immediately embraced it, saying, "I didn't laugh, I wept. It was so close to the truth." Ozzy Osbourne didn't understand it, saying the first time he watched it, he thought it was a real documentary. Early home video versions of the movie reportedly even had a disclaimer at the start and finish of the movie stating that the band themselves didn't actually exist. And going back to the aforementioned thing about David Coverdale and the sandwich meat, Van Halen, if you know the story, forgive me, but Van Halen used to demand as part of their rider, which is a list of things you want in your dressing room where you get ready, that I believe it was green, but let's just go with green. They wanted a bowl of M&Ms, all the green ones removed. Now, the reason they did that is not to be prima donnas. What I come to find out later was if they saw that when they went into the room, saw the M&Ms, if the green ones were missing, that means that the people in charge paid attention to the rider, and if that little bitty insignificant thing was done, chances are everything else was done. But if they went in there and green M&Ms were there, they had to go behind the people who were in charge of the venue and make sure that everything else was done, because if they couldn't do this one little thing, chances are there were more things that could be dangerous and liable that they had to go check on. So it was actually quite brilliant on Van Halen's part. So anyway, there you go. We start off with Jeff Tate and Whitesnake. We get into this Spinal Tap, ending with a little anecdote about Van Halen. Thank you for joining me. I know it's been a while, and it's going to be a while longer. I'm not getting videos the way I want to because personal things are happening in the world, but when I can drop these little tidbits, I really like to. I hope you're all doing great. Look forward to being back with you very soon. Take care.